Hello guys, my name is Damien John and today we're doing this video with Monique Lukens and we're going to talk about angel numbers and especially about angel numbers and angel signs, but mostly about angel numbers. So Monique, say hi to people.
Hi to people. Did you say Joan or Jones? My last name is Lukens, so yours should be Jones. You said Joan.
Okay.
Well, I think we should both have an S on the last name, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Okay, good. Well, my first question to you is sounds like, well, since you live in City of Angels, how much angel numbers do you see and what does it mean to you, these angel numbers?
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to give a little introduction between Damien and
Yeah.
myself. We met online and we have a lot in common. And we have been seeing these angel numbers together since we met. A lot, more than I've ever seen them with anyone. Most people don't know what you're talking about when you say angel numbers. But then when you do start seeing them, you start looking things up on YouTube and whatnot. And I think that this is going to be a great resource for those of you who have seen angel numbers or those of you who haven't. It's interesting because sometimes I'll talk to people about angel numbers, and before you know it, they're actually seeing the numbers that I'm seeing. So it's kind of like an energy transfer. I'm actually getting chills right now just talking about it. And that is actually a sign that you're telling the truth and that your angels are around you when you get the goosebumps. They're called the goosebumps, for those of you who are watching internationally. Like when you see a movie and something's very powerful, you feel the tingles up your arms. You might even feel like here in the crown. I feel that a lot when I'm saying things that might feel need to be told. Getting back on the topic, Damien and I we're both Scorpios, so we both like asking a lot of questions. So I notice he likes to ask me a lot of questions, and sometimes I'm like, I want to ask him the questions. But anyway, we do like to answer the questions when we're very passionate and excited about a topic, and I really am about this. I first started seeing these angel numbers when I was 22. Now, I am an actress, so I'm going to do something that's shocking. I'm going to give my real age. I'm not going to give a fake age like Demi Moore might, who's also a Scorpio. I'm 41 years old. So I've been seeing these angel numbers for 19 years now. Now, I didn't know that they were called angel numbers back in the day. Um, the internet wasn't very popular yet. I didn't have a resource. So when I started seeing 222 when I was 22, I was thinking, why am I seeing this? Like every day, a few times a day. The first time I started seeing it, I actually had a radio show in the Jersey Shore. You know, you've seen the Jersey Shore where they're all like talking with their arms like waved and they're Italians, only
Yeah.
I'm not quite like that, but um, I had this show that everyone would listen to. I literally was this local celebrity, and I went by Unique Monique. At the time, I was going with someone who was causing me a lot of issues. He wasn't very loyal to our relationship, and but I really loved him. And I remember coming home from my show each night and just praying about life and about him and the relationship. And every time I ended the prayer, I look up. Well, I mean, I was driving, so I was looking the whole time. But like in my mind, I was saying the prayer, and at the end of it, I would like look to the side, and there would be mile marker 222 on the Garden State Parkway. It was amazing. And then I would get home, and it was late because I had a night show, and then the clock would say 222. So this was happening for years. I would say maybe 7 years. I continued to see 222 and some other numbers as well, but mostly 222. And finally, I remember the day that I looked it up online. I was in Chicago with a different relationship, and I saw this whole thread of people talking about 222. I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone, because this whole time I would try to tell people, maybe 1 or 2 people said, yeah, I see that. If that, I don't even remember if it took a while for me to find somebody who knew what I was talking about. Most people would be like, huh? Triple numbers, what? And so I was very excited when I saw that people were having the same tangible vision on clocks, on receipts, on addresses, on license plates, on mile markers. And so what this thread was saying was that 222 meant master builder. And a master builder is someone who, you know, builds their reality, makes a better reality, not just for yourself, but for the world. And wow, that made me feel like, whoa, I was put onto this earth for a special mission. And I thought about some of the things that I had done in my life, and I thought, yeah, like I really have done things that others would never get involved in, be it like, you know, radio communications. And I had made a few songs. One was to promote tolerance for gay people. It was comical, the song. It was a dance song, but at the time, a lot of people still were not comfortable with people being gay in the United States, especially in certain areas, not where I was from in New Jersey. And I remember people saying, oh, are you gay? Because I had made this song. And so I was getting, you know, all this slap back for trying to help others. I also made a song called Older Women, Younger Guys. And that was also controversial because at the time, you know, females, they would only go with guys who were older. Seriously, if you were going with someone younger, that was different. And if you were going with somebody a lot younger, that was strange. Like, why are you doing that? You know, but it was nothing for a guy and a girl to be 10 years difference. I mean, that was normal, 7 to 10 years difference. My parents, they were almost 17 years difference. That was quite a lot, but it was kind of like normal even like before then. You know, men have gone with younger women, I don't know, 10 to 30 years, like 7 to 30 years. That was normal. So I made this song up, and I mean, just other things. I mean, I've always tried to be nice. Abstinent, that's another thing that's different in this society. You know, since the 60s, people have had sex, free sex. They've had, you know, they've had relations within 3 dates. And I always wanted to wait till I was married. But then later on, I thought to myself, well, I really feel that if you have relations, you should be prepared to have a child, because even in marriage, you know, just because you're married doesn't mean you're not going to have children. And, you know, people use birth control, and I don't want to judge, but let's face it, a lot of birth control pills give people cancer. In some instances, they even hurt the child. You know, I know somebody whose mother was
Yeah.
taking birth control while she was pregnant, and the person came out with autism. And so, you know, I say stay abstinent unless you're planning, or, you know, you're going to have the responsibility of wanting children. So I'm saying all that because, you know, this master builder, I'm like, well, what could it be? So when I analyze the things that I've done, I go against the grain. For those of you who are international, going against the grain means doing something different than, you know, most people. It's interesting now, a lot of the things that I was thinking back then are now becoming more popular, including, like, there's a whole bunch of people who are asexual, but that doesn't necessarily mean abstinence. So I still feel that my philosophy on abstinence has, you know, probably another 10 years. I want to talk more about the numbers now. So I've seen a lot of different number patterns since the 222. They especially started with 444 back in 2009. I met someone who was a raw vegan, and in fact, that's what my shirt says, raw vegan. I didn't know what a raw vegan was. It sounds like a fancy, weird name. Basically what it is you only eat plants. You eat fruits and vegetables and nuts and beans and seeds like a vegan, but you don't cook that, because see, once you start cooking above a certain heat temperature, then you kill the nutrients, your digestive enzymes, you know, the water content. You start killing the life inside of the food. And why we eat is to get the energy from the food. So we want as much energy as possible. And that's why it's great to be as raw vegan as possible, to eat those vegetables and those fruits uncooked and those nuts. You don't have to roast. You don't have to cook. It's hard. You know, I go anywhere from like 30% to I've gone all the way to 90%. Right now I'm probably around like 40, 50. It's not as good as I want. So this week I'm like, I need to be more raw. And you feel it. I have done some cleanses, you know, with like juice, the master cleanse, which some people, they say it's not good. I personally loved it. It was lemon, cayenne pepper, maple syrup, and a little bit of salt every day. I would do that for a few weeks. I did that a couple years, and I felt like I was on this spiritual high. You know, I was just cleansing my body. And you know, during this time, I was seeing 444 a lot. So now I looked that up, and that means, according to what I've seen, that the angels are around you. There is a doctor out there called Doreen Virtue. If you've seen anything on angel numbers, you've seen this person's name. And she's made a whole book out of what certain number patterns mean. Now, I have yet to understand how Dr. Virtue has discovered the meanings. I mean, how does she know that 444 means the angels are around you? Who told her? I'd like to ask her. So, Dr. Doreen Virtue, if you happen to see this video, can you please answer that? I met her one time, but I wasn't as savvy, and I didn't have the wisdom that I have now. But it's interesting because I really feel when I do see the number patterns and I immediately go online and I look at one of her definitions, how true it is, you know, and I'm getting the goosebumps again. It is the truth. Now, Damie, you and I, we have been seeing double and triple numbers a lot. And I've been seeing like 1 1, 4 4. Like I've been seeing the ones and the fours a lot together. I've also been seeing 5s and 9s. And it's interesting because I was in a relationship with someone that, you know, is still very precious to me, but we weren't together for like a year and a half. And as soon as that happened, I started seeing 4s and 9s together, which means completion. And 5s started happening with you, Damie, when, you know, expect something like new to happen, not good or bad. And so, you know, I just feel that there was a reason for us to meet, you know, even though there was a lot of chaos and, you know, I still have feelings for the other person and it's still like difficult for me to put everything together. I still feel that there is this master plan, if you would, because I keep seeing the numbers, you know, and if I pray or if I think something, bam, I'll see my answer on the clock. I'll see my answer on the odometer in my car. I mean, it's amazing. Like I've seen 4 to 5 of the same number in my inbox. I mean, you saw one which I wasn't so happy. I saw some 6s. Let's talk about that actually, because you know, a lot of people know that 6 is supposed to be the sign of, you know, I hate to say it, the devil. Except, you know, in Asian culture, for some reason, I don't think that they think that number. They actually think 4s. 4s is not a good number, Damie. I think it's either China or Japan or maybe both. They think it's the sign of death. In fact, they skip like the 44th floor. True. They will skip that in the address. I know that an 8 is very lucky for
Everybody.
yeah, which is interesting because my address that I grew up in is 8. Oh, I don't know if I should give this out online. Well, I kind of feel like I have to. The address that I grew up, 801, and my birthday is 1108. Very similar, 801. 1108. Okay, my address is backwards basically in my birthday. So you know, I've looked that up as well, my birthday 1108, and it's supposed to mean that you're on a spiritual mission, do like a spiritual business. And I have been seeing my birthday a lot as well. I don't know if I told you that, Damie, but I've been seeing that, and I've been seeing other numbers that tell me to, now is the time to have a spiritual business. So, you know, I came out here to Los Angeles to be an artiste. I've been eclectic in the arts. I've done dance music, I've done radio, I've done some writing, and I love comedic acting. My issue is I have tried to do them all at once many times, and it's very difficult. You know, you need to focus on one thing and then do the other things. Some positives that have come out of it, though, is I can use all of what I've done within acting, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I think I have like a lot of messages to give. So in some ways, I'm very fit for the radio, and I'm very fit for writing because I can give those messages more easily than being an actor and giving somebody else's words. Although, you know, if you're famous and you get, you know, quite wealthy, then of course you know, you can go over to Africa and spread your message of peace over there. But a lot of the scripts that I have come across, they always have like sex references and whatnot. And, you know, I don't want to judge per se because this is what people see as the reality sometimes. But I also think it's because they just want to exploit the topic to get people to watch. And I come at scripts from a standpoint of, well, am I going to be putting more positive or negative should I choose to do this script? And as an actor, that's really difficult to keep thinking like that because you limit your options, and then people start thinking, oh, it's too difficult to work with her because I would have to think about all this, and I don't want to think about all this. I just want to write and I want to hire the actor. So it has been difficult for me because this is the way I am. This is how I look at myself in the mirror every day. This is how I keep grounded. So I think that the numbers that I'm seeing right now are really telling me, look, Monique, you really do have to make a choice so that you can do more incredible work and put more messages out there than you have, instead of getting all upset, like, I can't do this, I can't do that, he said this to me, you know. So I think that's where I am right now in my life. I am working on a script myself, and it's funny because I'm putting in some jokes, if you would, that are, you know, joking about sex. But the reason I'm doing it is to show like different characters who think different ways, and my main character is the one who's like, well, no, like, I think this way, you know. So sometimes you have to put in those references in order to explain, you know, the storyline. What are you trying to get at? Some people would say, well, no, you don't have to put any of it in. You know, there's some religions, like, I love Christianity, but sometimes I feel it's a bit, some of the people think a little bit too rigidly, and where you can't express the issues. You know, you have to express the issues in order to solve the problem. That's how I feel. And so I need to put those issues in the script in order to get to the point. I want to just talk more about the numbers. I've taken a lot of photos recently of what I'm seeing. It's hard for me to throw receipts away sometimes because I'll go to get gas, and then when I see the receipt, it says I've gotten 4.44 gallons. I mean, how does that happen? You know, 2.22 gallons. And yeah, I start collecting a lot of things because of these numbers. I want to talk about the people who have seen the numbers in my life, because I think that's important too. You know, as I said, most people say, what are you talking about? But some people are like, yeah, I've seen them too. Most of the people, though, that see them start seeing them with me after I start talking about it. So I would have to say, now the first person who started talking about 1111 was that person that I wasn't having a very good relationship with when I was in my my radio show when I was 22. But he would talk about 1111 a lot. I wasn't seeing that number at the time, but he would always say, if you see 1111, make a wish. And I believe that the 1111 has been out there, the Make-A-Wish, since the 90s. I looked that up online because, I mean, these number frequencies they're new from what I understand, and more people are seeing them because it's an awakening. On Facebook, there is something called the Awakening Code, and people are seeing 1111, 2222. 333, 444, and they're saying, something big is coming. We are, the angels or celestial beings or whatever energies out there. Some people think that they're aliens. They say they're trying to, connect with us and that we are in an awakening. And I'm getting goosebumps again. So, this means I'm telling the truth, what's out there. I listened to, oh boy, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have had to outline what I was going to talk about. Okay, let me just get to the people that I've seen the numbers with, and then I need to tell you about a radio show that a lot of people know about, but a lot of people still don't know about, so I must mention it. But the people that I've seen the numbers with were that ex-boyfriend. Then I started seeing just a little bit of the numbers with a boyfriend from Bosnia, but he didn't see it too much, not too much. There was somebody that I met along the way, and gosh, he was in the military. We weren't boyfriend or girlfriend, but he started seeing twos. As soon as I know. I was on a flight. I was on an airplane flight, and I was talking about the twos, and he didn't see them. But he got my email address, and we landed in the same spot, and he went his way, and I went another way. And he started emailing me saying he started seeing 222 all over the place. Like the highways that he was going on, he would see like in 3 different spots. So I thought that was interesting, how that was like an energy transfer. And the person that explained about the raw vegan, what that was to me, and he's a Seventh-day Adventist, so most of them are vegetarians, at least, not vegans, because they it's for health issues. Seventh-day Adventist, and he started seeing the 444s with me everywhere we went. So that person was a lot. And then the relationship that I had, and we still are special to one another and talk, and we have seen 444 a lot, but we've also seen other numbers, but mainly 444. And for a long time, my GPS in my car, if we were discussing something serious or even something not so serious, we would get an affirmation that we were thinking the right thing or getting the answer, because my GPS would either go ding ding, or the GPS voice would start talking as soon as we ended the sentence. So it would be like, well, what do you think about that? Well, I think about that. Take a left. And then like the next thing, like, well, I think oranges are probably better than strawberries. Ding, ding. I mean, this is how it would be. It would be like an affirmation about anything that we were talking about. Now, he started getting nervous, saying, well, maybe it's some sort of bad spirit. And that was really getting me upset because, see, I've always thought of these numbers and these signs, and we'll get into the signs later on, like you said, Damie, but the numbers and then these signs, they've always been positive to me. Like, I've never had anything tell me something is bad, unless I would see the sixes, which I really haven't seen a lot of those in my life, and I always make the sign of the cross. But there's been a handful of times. I've read that the sixes mean like you're off your balance. You're worrying too much about material, or you're going, your wants for the material are greater than your spiritual. And I tend to believe that. I have seen a few positive things though about the triple sixes. So, it's possible that there could be some good in this number combination, but mainly I think it means you're off balance and you need to work more on your spiritual growth. I feel that, you know, just even saying that. Okay, so let me talk about this radio show called Coast to Coast AM. It's funny because I would listen to it as a little girl, and it was interesting to me. The topics were way out there, like aliens and UFOs, and you're like, are they telling the truth or is this all made up? Now I'm a frequent listener, like every night. It seems that I have something to do, and then I start driving home. It's like after 10 o'clock, the show is on. I'm always excited. What are they going to talk about? The host is George Noory. It used to be Art Bell, but now it's George Noory. And often they'll have people talking about, you know, spiritual entities that we don't see. They'll talk about UFOs and aliens, and some of it seems very realistic because I feel the same way, but some of it still seems like, how could that be? How could that be? Are they telling the truth really, or is this just entertainment? But last night I heard something where people were just calling in and love the topic, and I probably will not forget this topic. I mean, this really has made my mind open even more. They were talking about how there is life on Mars. If you go online, you'll see photos of like faces in like the planet of Mars. And there is this doctor, he came out with this publication, I think it was last winter. I didn't hear about it, and that's what they were saying. How come this topic hasn't been touched? And it's probably because the government doesn't want to alarm people, you know, or whatever their rationale is. But the doctor said that he feels that a nuclear war or some sort of weapon went off and destroyed all the civilization of Mars, not just because of the images that they're seeing, but there is a certain isotope in the atmosphere that is a residual of nuclear energy. And we're not talking about like something that is natural. We're talking about something that has been purposely set off, built in order to give that off. I can't think of what the isotope, it's called something, and then it's 129. I think it began with a Z, so you'll have to look that up. And he said the only other planet that they found this is Earth. Well, that makes sense. We have like nuclear energy here on Earth, so of course we're going to have that residual as well. So he said the only thing to do now is we need to go up to Mars, and well, he said the United States needs to go up to Mars. Damie, you're from Russia, so maybe you're going to tell your people now, we have to go up to Mars before the United States does. And I'm just thinking to myself, why don't we just work together? Like this, like Damie and I are doing, just work together. So, although, Damie, you want to come here? Well, I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, work together. So I'm looking at like a satellite as I'm talking. What is that? It's like a dish satellite. That's like a sign, you know, the satellite. You can't see, Damie, but I'm looking at my landlord's roof, and there's a satellite dish up top. It's kind of like a sign as I'm talking about this. But yeah, he said that people need to go up there, tough people, and dig through Mars and see, you know, what was on there. And of course, us as a civilization on Earth, we need to be careful about nuclear energy too. The Pacific Ocean has gotten a lot of radiation because of what happened in Japan several years ago in Fukushima. It's horrible. Like, the fish are dying, and we don't talk about it so much. See, again, it's because governments, they don't want to alarm people, and but the thing is, it's not just about alarming. It's also an economical thing. We really, you know, nuclear energy still is part of our economy. The United States, I was listening, I think it was the same show. They gave money to Japan to make like nuclear reactors, and I think it was the United States or the Japanese government. I don't, gosh, I can't remember, but I just know that Japan really doesn't want any more nuclear reactors because of what happened in Fukushima, but because of the economics, they're kind of being forced to put more nuclear reactors. And just like the United States, I mean, we know the dangers of nuclear energy, and we should be just doing clean energy, but clean, not just clean energy, but harmless clean energy. And we keep doing this nuclear because it's in the old dinosaur, I'll say dinosaur, old economic structure. And, we just don't want to break out of the old economic structure because we're afraid that people will lose jobs and will lose money. But in the meantime, if we don't start progressing quicker, we are going to lose so much more. And it's so a shame that people, they have money above people's health and above the longevity of this earth. And, I'm getting the goosebumps again. See, I'm telling the truth here. So, Damie, as I'm saying this, I know I'm getting away from the angel numbers, but not really, because those angel numbers have been telling.
Around 40 minutes already, just in case.
Oh, 40 minutes? Well, let's go to 444. 44 minutes we'll go to. Okay, I'll wrap it up. But, I'm getting these number patterns saying that I should be doing a spiritual business. And I really think maybe it's just talking about it, commenting on what I see and what I read, and, the veganism. And, I just have to figure out how I can make it, I'm not against money. That's how we, that's our way of, I give you a service, you give me a service. I'm like in poverty a lot of times though, because I start giving free. I just want people to be happy. I just want to give this information out for free. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to take some donations or something. We'll talk about that later. Okay, I'll wrap it up. There's one thing more that I wanted to say. A lot of religious people, and including myself, this kind of study, these number patterns, they could be lumped into numerology. And numerology has been around for years. Okay, maybe these angel numbers haven't, but the number patterns and, what number you were born on this day, what that means, that's like ancient. And I'm looking at a bottle right now. It says Shakeology. I said numerology and I said Shakeology. I saw this thing that says Shakeology at the same time. I guess I'm like shaking up the world with this conversation today. No, Shakeology is mostly raw vegan. It's pretty expensive, but I like to have that for my breakfast. It's quick and it's all vegan, mostly raw vegan. I've given a plug to Shakeology. Thanks, Diane, for getting me into that. But yeah, a lot of people are afraid of numerology because they think, again, it's like maybe something that is negative, demonic or something. I just, again, and they think the same way of astrology. I just think it's like kind of like a guide. I think God knew what he was doing when he made up everything in patterns. I think that, you know, we look at things and we just see patterns all over the place. We see systems all over the place. You know, broccoli, you know, if you take a whole big stalk of broccoli and you take one little thing and one little thing, they all look like little broccolis. I mean, that's a mathematical system, right? There's a numerology to that. They're called fractals, I believe. I have a math degree. I'm trying to remember. I think it was a fractal. There is something called the golden ratio. Please do not ask me about that because I don't remember what it is, but there's a lot of things in nature that have this ratio, the golden ratio. So it's like when religious people get scared about patterns and numbers, I don't feel that they should, because God had a way of designing things, or, you know, intelligence, higher power, you know, whatever you're, you know, you're believing, all of that. I think it all comes into play. And I think instead of being fearful, let's like learn about it and see the positives. And just one more thing about that, you know, there's even something called the Bible code, and there's supposed to be important numbers in the Bible, you know, like verse whatever, like 444. It's like there there's hidden meanings according to the numbers in the Bible. So again, I just feel that highly organized religious people shouldn't be fearful of talking about this, because it's quite evident to me that there's an intelligent design and there's nothing to be fearful about that. You know, we should just take the positives out of that. Okay, so I'm probably at 44 minutes now, Damie. Yes?
Unfortunately, I can say I cannot exactly, but I don't
Well,
know.
we're close to it. Okay, so I better wrap this up. And I think I'm going to have to put the power cord in my computer for the next segment. So we're going to talk about angel signs next, or would you like to do that another time, Damie?
Let's see. I don't know actually. So we going to do another video anyway. So let's just say goodbye now, right?
Oh, never say goodbye. That's too permanent. Just say bye or ciao. We
Okay.
want to see them again. At least that's what my mother
Okay.
said. She's like Italian. It's superstition. Okay, so
We can
so
say
long. Bye. Ciao.
arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Thanks for listening. And give your comments if you see angel numbers, what they mean to you. Oh, and you might also call them master numbers. The double and triple numbers like 111 or 1122 222. You might also see them being called master numbers. To me, it's the same thing, angel numbers and master numbers. You know, maybe there's a difference and you know what the difference is. Comment on that too. Thank you so much, Damie, for interviewing me, and thank you for allowing me to keep talking. You are a good silent recorder. And a good,
Okay.
you were a good, all you had to give was one question and you got it all out of me. So that was a good question.
Yeah. Okay. Mm, thank you and see you next time.